I fell ill about 10 years ago, and I spent 7 months in hospital, and when I came out I was a wheelchair user. To all intents and purposes, I then became confined to one floor of a 4-storey house. We had 6 bedrooms and I couldn't get to any of them.
When we first came to the site, I remember being really struck by how inappropriate the existing house was for Jo's needs. I think the clue's in the name, Nately Towers. It's a very tall kind of Edwardian property with lots of turrets and multiple levels.
The first requirement actually was for a family home that we could genuinely live in as a family and that I could get everywhere. I hadn't been to my children's bedrooms for 9 years. Now, clearly there are some advantages to that, but actually there are some deeply sad things about that too. So we wanted a family home, we wanted a home that I could get everywhere, where I could live independently, where I needed less help from the family, and that truly transformed all of our lives.
Every person with a disability has different requirements and different needs. Whilst we've designed the house to meet Part M of the building regulations, there's so many specific features of the house that are specially designed for Jo's needs. First and foremost, she's in a wheelchair, so having a lift, having level thresholds, the basics. The table we're sat at now has got no legs in each corner, so she can get all the way around it.
You haven't got a wide enough space, you can't get round it in a wheelchair, and it's a terribly basic thing to want to be able to lay your table, but actually, as a mum, it's a pretty natural thing to want to do.
Yeah, there's so many individual features of the house. It's kind of too many to mention really, but it's a highly bespoke individual piece of architecture.
So there were a range of fairly basic things that actually turn out to be quite difficult to deliver and require quite a lot of thought.
So working through all these things was a real education for both me and the team. It was a really interesting process to go through. So the overriding idea, the architectural idea, is to have a fresh start for Jo and the family. So the idea is that it's a counterpoint to the existing building in every way. So whilst the existing building is sort of multi-levelled and turreted and sort of Edwardian property, this is very much about being cut into the landscape, working with the landscape. It's a low and sleek building. And that extends into the architecture as well, in terms of the materiality and the way the materials work together. So you've got a sort of horizontal white brick on the ground floor, which is sort of heavy in its nature in this sort of plinth, and then above that is a sort of lightweight timber box, which is vertical cladding and sort of that black texture, which works as a sort of counterpoint again. So the architectural contrast was a really important one.
My days now, I've hundreds of moments of delight, and we've been here 6 months now, and I still remember what it was like before, where on a daily basis, I'd have hundreds of minor irritations. If I recounted some of them, you'd think, well, that's just daft, but actually they really accumulate. It's a drip effect to make life very frustrating, and it really impacts your outlook, it impacts your ability to do things. And this has just removed all of those frustrations. Quite apart from the fact that it's a delightful house for the whole family to live in, it has absolutely transformed my life.